Yo, what's up, my friends? It's Steve from Straight Fire Picks. We got best bets for Monday Night Football. Two football games here, guys. We got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Cincinnati Bengals here on Monday, September 25th, 2023. We're going to have NFL player props, spreads, over-unders, totals. And we have a same-game parlay plus that we put together for you guys that we're officially going to put a tenth of a unit on to win potentially almost 4 units. So stay tuned at the end of the video for that. Some things that I really like. Pretty much all the legs have already hit in the first 2 games, with the exception of one for 4 yards. So I'll touch on that more, though, later. If you guys are new to the channel here today, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Always appreciate that. We are on the road to 7,000 subscribers. Appreciate all of your support, as always, guys. Make sure you guys drop your favorite pick down below for this game in the comment section. If you like your pick included in our comment capper section, just be sure to put a star or an asterisk next to your pick, and we'll include your pick in the video if it hits. Speaking of our comment cappers from last episode, guys, it's from Thursday Night Football. We had 5 callouts that hit in the chat. Pretty much all the callouts. So great night for our comment cappers. We had Travis Hortman calling Elijah Mitchell over 26.5 rushing yards. Cash that. Eric and me calling Bosa sack and a 49ers win as a boost on FanDuel. That hit as well. Eric and me also called Christian McCaffrey over 113.5 rushing and receiving yards. Then we had Demetrius Smith calling the 49ers -6 under 54.5 parlay together. And then we had Lit Picks finally with the same game parlay for plus 135 of value. That had a few of those things in it as well. So great calls from our comment capper. As far as the stream results, it was a successful night for us. We ended up going 2-1. We cashed Christian McCaffrey over 78.5 rushing yards. And we cashed our same game parlay combo with McCaffrey touchdown and the 49ers covering 6.5. So we're able to cash both of those plays. We missed, unfortunately, on our other play of Darius Slayton over 34.5 receiving yards. He gets to 33, comes up 2 yards short, so obviously that was sad. Left us 2 yards shy of the sweep, and we weren't able to cash our same game parlay. But hoping we can have a full sweep tonight. We got 4 picks and the same game parlay, so let's get after it today, guys. Let's get a 4-0 sweep and cash this parlay. We could potentially have an 8-unit night. That'd be terrific. We really need it. I could really use it. So let's send the good vibes this way, guys. Let's get it rolling here in Monday Night Football for Week 3. Let's get after it here at number 1. For our picks, we were going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys. +5 spread here versus the Philadelphia Eagles. -110 odds here on Caesars. So yeah, guys, I'm buying the hype. I actually bought the hype in Week 1. In case you guys didn't know, I probably would honestly bought it in Week 2. Week 1, we took the Bucs spread versus the Vikings. They went into Minnesota and outright won. Now, Minnesota's 0-3, so I'm not sure how much it really says. But hey, the Bucs won, and they won last week versus Chicago, 27-17. Now, I'm not saying the Bucs are going to win this game. I do think it'll be close. They are playing at home. They're playing with energy. They're playing with vibes, right? Baker Mayfield is bringing all those things. That's what I like about a football team, guys. I love a team that has energy and vibes. It's the same thing going on in Detroit right now. There's something just about the energy there that's good. And I could say the same thing about Baker. He's bringing a good energy to this offense. And he's really playing good football as well. So far, Bucs 2-0 on the season, like we said. 2-0 against the spread. Baker, very good in the preseason. We touched on that in Week 1. And so far, it has not been a fluke. The man has played very well. He's posted a 104.4 quarterback rate through 2 weeks with 0 turnovers. So the man has been absolutely terrific. There's not really a bad thing you could say about him. He's not going to be dominant at this point, but obviously he's been very good. He's definitely going to manage the game, I think, well. And this defense right now for Tampa Bay playing pretty solid. So I think they keep it close here versus a Philly offense that has yet to really hit their stride. Right? We've seen Philly's offense kind of be... you saw A.J. Brown get into it last week with Jalen Hurts because they were just kind of off. They're just a little bit off right now. Tampa Bay, though, so far 11th in yards per game allowed, 7th in points per game allowed. So they've been very good on the defensive side. Eagles defense so far 8th most yards allowed, 14th most points allowed. So this Eagles defense really hasn't been great either. They weren't particularly great versus Minnesota. Some busted coverages on the back end. We saw that happen in Week 1 versus the Patriots as well. A lot of stuff up the middle, the seams, the tight ends for Mac Jones. He's hitting that all day. So his defense hasn't really played great. And really in Week 1, the Eagles easily could have lost. I believe they got 2 defensive touchdowns. Without that, they probably don't win that game. So I think here Tampa Bay, if they could stay away from the turnovers in this game, then it's definitely going to be a close game. Philly's not at that point in the season where they're dominant. So far, their offense, like we talked about, 14th in yards per game, 13th in quarterback rate so far for Jalen Hurts. Not quite at the level he was at last year. And like I said, we saw that frustration with A.J. Brown and him last week. they're just not quite in sync yet. And on the road here in a very energetic, probably going to be a loud environment here, Monday Night Football for a 2-0 home team. It's going to be good stuff, guys, in Tampa. I love the energy right now down there. And they have still a lot of talent down there. Still have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans on offense, and Baker, if he plays well like that, who knows? I mean, really, they're getting good quarterback play right now. Their defense is still pretty solid. Leftover pieces from that Super Bowl, so who knows? I think they have another good shot potentially to win this game. I love them, though, on the spread for our number 1 pick. We're going Tampa Bay Buccaneers, +5 spread here versus the Philadelphia Eagles, -110 odds here on Caesars. Okay, and at number 2, we are going with Mike Evans, over 53.5 receiving yards here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, -114 odds on Rivers. So this is one of the things that I love right now between Baker and Mike Evans. That chemistry is really starting to get there for these two. And this line, to me, is too low. I know Philly can be a great defense. They're getting Bradbury back in the secondary. Secondary is still banged up, though. Those slot corners, went down for the season. Bradbury, like I said, coming back off injury. Could he be a little bit rusty as well? He could be. I think they're going to move Mike Evans around, though. Try to get them matchups in the slot because, obviously, Mike Evans is such a big receiver. Could take advantage of some good matchups for him in the slot. And I think Evans, definitely this number is just a little bit too low for him. He's passed this number with logs of 171 and 66 and 2 touchdowns. So he's played great. He's 2 for 2 so far to this line. 171 yards last week. Definitely will take my stab with Evans here for a third of that total. Definitely think he's capable of that. Line is at 57.5 on FanDuel, 55.5 on other books. I don't mind it there, but take your best line. 53.5 right now on most of the books. With DraftKings, MGM, most of the books have this at 53.5. Now FanDuel is at 57.5. Still don't mind it there, but like I said, take your best line. That's what I plan on doing. So far though, Mike Evans, 18 targets through 2 games. That's an average of 9 targets per game. We obviously love to see that. Just talked about Philly's defensive backfield being a little bit banged up. They are getting Bradbury back. They're expected to get him back. But like I said, even with Bradbury in week 1, the secondary struggled versus the Patriots. We just touched on that. So I think Mike Evans, the big target that he is, could definitely get some good matchups with the secondary. It's not like Evans is the only guy they have to worry about. Chris Godwin's also very good as well. So, love it there, guys, for our number 2 pick. We're going Mike Evans, over 53.5 receiving yards here for the Tampa Bay Bucks. -114 odds here on BetRivers. Okay, and at number 3, we're going with the Los Angeles Rams money line here versus the Cincinnati Bengals. +114 odds here on Rivers. Love this one again, guys. Again, this is our best line. Most books have this about +105 to +108. Rivers with +114 here. Rams 1-1 on the season, 2-0 against the spread. We saw them win in week 1 versus Seattle in Seattle, 30-13, and then last week they covered the 7.5 spread by losing by 7 to the 49ers. Really had a lot of good opportunity to actually win that game and kind of just pissed it away late. Kind of fell out of that game late, but they were actually very much in contention to win that game with the 49ers last week. Played really pretty good for most of the game, just kind of faded late. Here for Cincinnati, they've looked ugly through 2 weeks of the season. They're 0-2 losses to the Browns and the Ravens. We got Joe Burrow, a game-time decision here for the Bengals. That obviously does not bode well for them. Even if he plays, an injured Joe Burrow has not been very good so far in the season. He's been, honestly, so far, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in football through 2 games. He's obviously not one of the worst quarterbacks, but so far, statistically speaking, he has been to start the season. And this Rams defense really has played pretty solid to open the year. They're 6th in yards allowed, 14th in points allowed. That's not bad. Their young receivers on the offensive side we've seen be terrific. It's kind of just like they've kind of came out of nowhere. Like, who are these receivers that the Rams have? They got this guy named Pakua Nakua and Atwell. They've combined for 462 yards. They've been absolutely phenomenal. That's, each guy is averaging just about 100 yards per game. So they've been absolutely phenomenal. Stafford has found his 2 favorite targets, and both of them expected to play. Now, Nakua is battling a little bit of an oblique injury, but not too worried about that. They are expecting him to play on Monday night. Like I said, here, there's just better vibes right now with the Rams, too, right? The Bengals 0-2 really don't look in sync offensively. Burrow's banged up. He might not even play. Right now, there's not a lot to trust right now in Cincinnati. Right now, I like Matthew Stafford, experienced quarterback going on the road. Has found a couple really good receivers. This offense seems to be picking up with Sean McVay and obviously getting more back into form from when they won the Super Bowl. And honestly, Rams might surprise people this year. Might be a much better team than people expected. So far, they've looked good through 2 weeks. See if they keep it up here on the road. I do like the odds of them doing that, honestly, especially with a hurt Joe Burrow. So love it there for number 3 pick, guys. We're going Los Angeles Rams money line here versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Plus 114 odds here on Bet Rivers. Okay, guys, and finally at number 4, we are going Puka Nacua over 65.5 receiving yards here for the Los Angeles Rams. Minus 110 odds here on MGM. So yes, guys, this has been Stafford's favorite target by far. 35 targets in 2 games. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The volume alone is enough for me to take this bet. No other questions asked. I promise you. That type of volume speaks for itself. He's obviously just locked in, just like he was with Cooper Kupp. It's the same type of volume. And this line is still, they have not adjusted this line enough, in my opinion. 65.5 is still extremely low for a guy that gets targeted this much. He's got 25 receptions, 266 yards, game logs of 147 and 119. And, Bengals typically known for a pretty solid secondary, but we saw receivers do pretty solid versus the Bengals last week for the Ravens. And the Ravens don't really have a prolific passing game as of right now. But Zay Flowers, 62 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 63 yards for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson had one of his better passing games of the season, 24 out of 33 last week versus the Bengals. So I think they can find some holes in the secondary here. Nacua, like I said, regardless of the matchup, is something I probably would take anyway. They have not beefed this line up enough. I think this line should be closer to 80. And I think if you get it early, we could maybe ride this for a while. We'll see what happens. It has a similar feel to like Cooper Kupp when his lines were consistently around 100 yards, and he was still cashing. It's just one of those ridiculous things. Kind of like Justin Jefferson, too, another guy. Receiving line is just ridiculous, right? His receiving line's 100, and he cashes it almost all the time. He cashed it again today on Sunday. He did get hurt for a minute. I believe he got cramps, but he did end up cashing his line again. And right now, clearly, his go-to target. So love it there, guys, for number 4 pick. We're going Puka Nacua over 65.5 receiving yards here for the Los Angeles Rams. Minus 110 odds here on MGM. All right, guys. It is same game parlay time. Now, I'm putting a tenth of a unit, as you guys can see on this, to win $363.50. That's almost 4 full units that we can win. This is boosted right now on FanDuel. You can unlock this boost. It's called the Gronk Spike Boost on FanDuel. So take advantage of that boost. I'm doing it, so I'm going to track it that way. We will track it, win or lose. Hopefully, we'll be tracking it as a win and maybe having an 8 unit night. That would be ideal. But here, basically, we're taking a couple of lines that we already have just boosted. Mike Evans, 70 yards. Not really too much more than what we were looking for before with 56.5. But this is the only leg that hasn't hit in every game this season. All these other legs that you see on the screen have hit. He got 66 yards, so he fell 4 short in week number 1 of this line. But obviously, that improved chemistry with Baker Mayfield over a couple weeks, I think he'll get there. And the matchup he's got with Philly, I like that as well. And Evans to score a touchdown, he's done this in both games. Kyron Williams, anytime touchdown, he's also done this in both games. Scored 2 touchdowns in week number 1. Puka Nacua, 90 yards, he's obviously done this in both games. He's gone over 100 in both games. So I like the value here. I think we're getting some sneaky value. And with the boost, I absolutely love this parlay. So that's our same game parlay, guys. Putting a tenth of a unit on it. Bet it as you please. And how you'd like to bet that. But that is what we're doing. All right, guys, that's it for our picks. If you guys enjoyed the content, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Other than that, it's going to do it for me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.